All right, Helen. So thank you very much for joining us this evening, your time, afternoon, my time here in Washington. I know you are the mayoral candidate of the Democratic Alliance, a very important political party in South Africa. You are seeking to become the next mayor of Johannesburg, a very important city to South Africa and Africa as a whole. What makes you uniquely qualified to run as the candidate who will win to become the next mayor of Johannesburg?
Well, I'm not sure I'm uniquely qualified, but I do have a lot of the qualifications. I've been a mayor before. My party won the mayoralty in Cape Town in 2006 from the ANC. It was also a broken municipality, not nearly as broken as Johannesburg is, because the ANC had not been in power for a long time in Cape Town as it has in Johannesburg. But we turned that city around, and then we won the province of the Western Cape, in which Cape Town is, and we turned the province around from the decline under the ANC. So I have a lot of experience in turnaround of governments at local and provincial level. Johannesburg is much more broken than Cape Town has ever been. And Johannesburg is broken because the ANC has never invested in infrastructure and is profoundly corrupt. And when the money is stolen, you don't get delivery and you don't get basic services. So I've been in this movie before. It's not my first rodeo, as the Americans would say. And I know where to find the dead bodies. And I believe that people in Johannesburg now want basic service delivery, and that's what I'm pledging to do.
You also mentioned corruption, you know where the dead bodies are buried. So, what are your key priorities if or when the people or residents of Johannesburg decides to choose you as their next mayor?
Firstly, I will put all eyes on the budget. I will make sure that I understand the budget line item by line item, and I will monitor spending on the budget. And I will be absolutely sure that there's enough of a percentage of the budget that goes to maintenance. For 30 years, the ANC has not spent on maintenance. Joburg, or Johannesburg, as Johannesburg is affectionately known, spends less than 1% of its capital budget on maintenance. And that's ridiculous. It should be 8%. And this has been going on for 30 years now. So we're going to have to change that dramatically and focus on maintenance of infrastructure and the development of new infrastructure. Johannesburg Council has become a kind of employment bureau for ANC friends and family, and that's going to have to stop as well. We're going to have to root out corruption by getting good oversight over the procurement system. We've got to get value for money and employ people who can do the job.
So, a lot of residents of Johannesburg have expressed concern about what they say is the collapse of service delivery. How do you plan on turning things around specifically?
It's the only way we can do that is by fixing the infrastructure. I mean, the reason that there isn't any water in people's homes is because the pipes have not been maintained, the reservoirs have not been maintained. There's plenty of water from the heavens. There's been magnificent rain in Gauteng, in Johannesburg. The Vaal Dam, from which Johannesburg draws its water, is full to overflowing, but they can't get it from the dam into people's homes in a clean and proper way. And that's because the infrastructure has collapsed, because of lack of maintenance, and because of corruption over 30 years.
The government recently announced the hosting of G20, as you know, summit in Johannesburg. What are your thoughts? Because supporters of the government say it's part of the effort to jumpstart the economy of Johannesburg to create more jobs for South Africans.
Well, obviously, everybody wants to create more jobs for South Africans. But when you go to Johannesburg now, you can see which areas are going to be hosting leaders from the G20. There is an enormous scurry to fill the big potholes, to get the infrastructure working. I went to parts of Soweto, that was Dobsonville and Orlando, and those are the two areas that the G20 leaders are going to go to. And there's such an effort to get that looking right. And then all around Sandton, where they will be, that's the kind of richest mile in Africa, that is Sandton. That particular area is, there's such a scurrying going on there to get that place sorted out, you can't believe. So there is a lot of facelifting being done in strategic areas, but that doesn't help the majority of the residents who are quite cynical about this.
Will there be a thorough and independent investigation into allegations of corruption for which you mentioned earlier in your submission?
Yes, one of the very first things I will do as mayor is I will appoint a forensic auditor in my office. And we will have a hotline, a corruption reporting hotline, in which people can stay totally anonymous, and we will guard their identity with our lives. Because in South Africa, you may or may not know, but people are assassinated for investigating corruption. We have a lot of political killings. We've had them in Johannesburg, and when you start going after the corrupt who are fleecing the public, you have a situation where people get assassinated. So we'll have to ensure that people's identity is protected, but we will go after corruption with everything we've
Hmm.
got.
Your party is in partnership with the ANC. Some people are saying that what wrongs or allegations of graft leveled against the ANC could be leveled against the Democratic Alliance too, because both of you are in the government. How do you respond to such criticisms or cynics?
Well, in our departments that we run, there is no corruption. I mean, we don't allow it. And in the DA, you can't survive if you're corrupt. You cannot survive in my party if you're corrupt. In the ANC, you cannot survive if you're not corrupt. Because if you're not corrupt, you're a danger to everybody who is corrupt, and they will work you out. They will get you out. And they will assassinate you if they have to. But in my party, if you're corrupt, you don't survive a day. That's the difference. Now, in the departments that we run, there's no corruption. But we had a choice. We could either let the country be governed through a coalition between the ANC, the EFF, and MK. And let me explain to your listeners what that means. It means the radical totalitarian left in coalition with the corrupt ANC. Now, that is a doomsday coalition for South Africa. And to prevent that, we decided that we would go into coalition with the ANC to prevent the hard totalitarian left from doing it.
Would you say the decision to do that has been good for the people of South Africa?
Well, the question in politics, Peter, is always compared to what? It's much, much better than the alternative. And that's the only thing that really counts.
So, Helen, what should the residents of Johannesburg expect from your mayoral candidate when or if they decide to choose you? What should they expect from you?
They can expect a mayor that will work 18 hours a day. They can expect a mayor who will root out corruption and be totally intolerant of corruption. They can expect a mayor that will understand the budget, devote the budget to the plan on which we are elected, and who will monitor how that money is being spent very, very closely. They can expect from me an absolute commitment to have the back of every single resident in the city of Johannesburg, to be responsive and to be on the job for 7 days a week.
What do you say to some of your critics who say that you are heavily relying on past glories and that you might not even have the energy to run the office like the 7 days that you talked about, and that they wouldn't see anything different from previous administrations running the affairs of Johannesburg? How do you respond to that?
Well, all I can say is wait and see. Let me show you. Wait
What
and
is your
see.
message to them?
I mean, look, they know me. They know my energy. They know that I'm still working like I always have done. They know what I've been doing in my party. I've been the Secretary General of my party for the last 6 years. And I've been doing all of those things. They know that I'm not asleep on the job.
Hmm. Thank you very much, Helen, for giving us a bit of your time this evening. I appreciate your time.
It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much indeed, Peter. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you, Helen, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.